Hey guys, what's up? I'm back here with another piece from Xtreme Supercars. These are the TA splitters or front splitters that are made by Xtreme Supercars. Another really nice piece, really nicely finished. The kit comes with essentially all the hardware you're going to need to mount these up. There's going to be a series of holes. These holes in the back here are going to use the existing hardware that is on the car now. We'll see that when we get underneath the car. And the front edge bolts, or the ones that are along the front edge here, we're actually going to be drilling out. So in the plastic of the bumper on the car. So basically these will conform. This will fit right up underneath the existing bumper on the Viper. The screws that come with it are also included when they send us the pieces, so which is great. You basically have 6 bolts that are slightly long. I don't remember, whatever they look to be, 6 millimeter more than likely, or 1/4 inch, 20, whatever, something along those lines. But basically, these are about 1 inch long. These are about 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch long. Washers are all the same. So basically you have 8 washers. It's basically for the 4 mounting screws on the piece for the front, and obviously the other 4 are for the one on the other side. The reason you have long and short screws is because the one in the extreme outside corner of the car or of the piece is a short bolt, because obviously you don't have the depth on this side for a the longer bolt. Xtreme produces or gives you a template. Now this template, basically it's a real thin piece of fiberglass. I don't know if you can really see that, but I mean it's a real thin piece of fiberglass that's an exact contour of the bottom of your bumper. This is a mirror of the underside of the car, or the bumper of the car, right? And so you can tell that this essentially is going to line up here. Okay, if you see these screw holes will essentially line up with the factory locations, right? You're going to take this template, okay, which has again the contour of the bottom of the bumper. You're going to take this template, you're going to hold it in place with those factory bolts, and then once that's in place, I'm probably going to hold it with the one on the end as well. Once those are in place, then that's going to give me the perfect position to open the 4 holes, okay, that I need to open, so that I can then bring in the bolts from inside the bumper into the edge of the splitter. Okay, so really nice thing to have when they ship these to you. These bolt holes, if they shift over, or if they're shifted over, whatever, a 1/16 of an inch when they're putting them in, or whatever the case is, which obviously can happen. This is a handmade piece. What they do is they actually, the factory bolt holes are obviously going to be in the factory locations, but these, since it's in the handmade part, what they do is each one of these templates is drilled out to your specific splitter. So again, another really nice touch, guaranteeing you that that you're going to be able to do this right, and these holes are going to be in the precise locations that they need to be. All right. Then the way that we're going to get the unit attached physically is we're going to attach it with these 3 factory bolts. 1 bolt that's in the wheel well, okay, and then the 4 holes that we drilled, that we're going to be bringing bolts through the bumper down into the carbon fiber piece, and then everything is going to attach up nice and firmly. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here getting some of these bolts off so we can get this template in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the bolt that's on the side. I'm using a power drill. If you, again, a power driver, if you're going to do it, just be careful with it. But you're going to be pulling them out. The head on it is a Torx 30, a T30. So just basically get those 4 screws out of the way. Trying to do this in such a way that you guys can see what I'm doing. Obviously I'd be up underneath the car closer if I was going to be doing this normally. So, but I'm just trying to keep out of the way of the video so you guys can see what it is that we're doing. Right. So this is basically going to bolt up in here. I'll locate that first screw. And now that template is in there pretty nice. And now obviously you're still going to have to obviously push this up into place, but you know, this is going to roll into place nicely, and the outside contour is going to come in real good. And then I'm just going to mark those 4 holes. All right, so I repositioned the camera slightly, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of the bolts off to be able to drop this whole belly pan. All right, so along the front edge here, they are all T30s with the exception of one large bolt that's in the middle that is a T40, and then these inside here, which are T40s as well. So I'm just going to get all of these out of here. Now in the wheel well, on both sides, you have 2 bolts that are on the inside. On the way there. And then now we're going to switch the tip to the T40 and get these 4 out of here. All right. All right, so now coming up and taking a look at this belly pan, I'm going to bring in the light here to make sure that you guys can see what it is that we're seeing. But basically that's the top side of the bumper. And luckily for us, there is absolutely nothing in there that we have to worry about. So that's nice and clean and wide open. All right, so that's the driver's side. And then the passenger side, pretty much same thing. There isn't a single thing in there we need to worry about that we're going to get anywhere near. So at the end of the day, that's going to be a real simple thing. So now we can go ahead and drill out those holes and bring the splitter into place. I'm going to go ahead and make the leap now that we know that there's absolutely nothing back behind here that we have to worry about. I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes. Now, the bolts themselves, like I thought, are basically the bolts that are going to be holding this in place are essentially they're quarter-inch nuts, or sorry, quarter-inch bolts. So if I drill a quarter-inch hole, then the position is going to have to be, you know, absolutely perfect. So since, you know, these are just threaded clips, I'm going to drill the holes 3/8 of an inch. We have massive washers that are going to be in the back of this, so I'm not concerned about that. I'm merely opening the 3/8 inch hole to give myself a little bit of play. You know, I'm just going to go slow to get that hole started, and then once that's started, it'll just go right through the plastic real easily. I mean, there's really nothing to this at all, right? Okay, and that's it. That is the hole. So now the point of no return, that hole will be there forever. But that's it. That's all it is, guys. There's nothing more than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to get this screw through here. There's a washer on the back side there. I'm going to go ahead and line it up to this first bolt hole, which is kind of the middle. And then I'm just going to get the thread started. Once that's in there, then this pretty much should hold it up. You know, obviously it's not going to go anywhere. But I'll get that started and leave it a little loose so that I can get the other bolts in there. And I'm done. open. So like I said, I'm going to put in the screw in here. Again, just to line up. Again, the carbon is obviously it's going to be very, very rigid. So now in hindsight that I'm seeing this, I was wondering whether I was going to sandwich the carbon between the two pieces. There is no doubt I am going to sandwich the carbon between the two pieces. Reason being, as I'm tightening this down, it occurred to me that obviously if I tighten it too much, then I will snap said carbon, and I don't want to do that. These are all reasonably tight. And then, like I said, I'm going to use a little shorty 10 millimeter. All joking aside, like you guys, you all know, you are going to have to go out and buy one because you're not going to have it. That 10 millimeter mystery, right? It's like the Bermuda Triangle. And that's it. So that's in there nice and tight. Now, this is really attached on here. No way that this is going to come out of there. Okay. And that, folks, is that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off these screws again now, because at the end of the day, I don't need them in there. I'm just going to leave one in place just so that the carbon fiber doesn't flap around. But when I come in with the belly pan, obviously I'll take it out just so it's out of my way. All right, so we're back up underneath here. Both pieces are now in. I've got the driver's side in. Like I mentioned, all these bolts are tightened. I've gotten the passenger side in as well. One thing when I did that, and one thing that I should have mentioned before is when you are tightening these down, you want to make sure that this outside edge here is very tight up against the car. You don't want anything or any air getting in between there. You don't want any, it's going to be a catch for everything on this upper lip. So what you do is, just to make sure that you get everything nice and tight again, is just thread in the bolts by hand loosely, and then as you're pulling the piece in towards the inside of the car, then just go ahead and tighten the bolt down once it's nice and tight up against the car, and then that'll make sure that your gap is gone. Then once you've done that, then tighten up the other bolts, which basically are just going to seal the gap up against the edge in the front, and you'll be cool. This air dam, incidentally, on the air dam, if you have a doubt of which way it comes in or comes out, there is a little arrow on the air dam. That arrow goes to the outside, so when these bolts go through, you need to make sure that arrow is pointing outward, so that you can get that into the right place. All right, so now we're looking at this from the bottom of the car. As you can see, I basically sandwiched the carbon fiber between the bumper itself and the composite belly pan that's on the car, right? So basically, I sandwiched that carbon fiber in there, and that's going to make sure that that stays nice and tight up in there, and also I'm not torquing down on that carbon fiber to crack anything or do anything like that. So once that's in, these air dams are in place as well, and then all those screws are nice and tight, going all the way around along this edge here. Okay, these two screws in here. Okay, on this side you'll be able to see, you can just barely see, let me bring in some light here. but you can go ahead and see that screw on the outside there going in through the carbon fiber. That's what you've got for that, and that holds the outside edge in. So once you're all done, this is your belly pan in and installed, okay, and then your splitters. Show you from the top side. All right, from the top side now, this is all done. Everything is nice and bolted in there. You can see that's got a really tight fit up against the bumper itself. Okay, there's a bit of a gap on the back side. All right, and this is where this bolt comes in, but basically it's a nice and tight fit all the way around, all underneath there. Obviously no gap because you're basically bolting down through the bumper into the carbon fiber with a set of threaded inserts that are basically epoxied into the composite.